Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today on a Friday with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
It is going super.
All right. Well, let's get. Yeah. Did you see the snow this morning?
No, did we get snow?
Yeah, around 10 o'clock, it snowed for about 5 minutes.
Oh no,
And
that was
it
okay.
snowed pretty good. It was complete dusting. It was all over the roads and all that. But now I look out in my field and I got a little bit in my garden, and other than that, I don't see any snow.
Well, it didn't happen. It didn't happen here a few miles to your west.
Yeah, but it's like 35 degrees though, so it shouldn't be snowing, right? Yeah. Anyways, all right. Our opening story: Tesla full self-driving under federal investigation, but gets a 5-week extension. Tesla's been granted a 5-week extension to respond to an investigation into FSD causing thousands of traffic violations. Yeah, so regulators examining whether Tesla vehicles violated traffic laws while FSD was engaged. I wonder what they were violating. You just never know, right? Driving through crime scenes,
Well, yeah, coasting at 55 miles an hour through a 35 mile an hour construction zone or something. Yeah.
It's funny. I play tennis, and there's basic rules for tennis, right? But there's actually rules for things that I've never seen actually happen in my lifetime on a court. Okay. Like it's perfectly legal if the ball lands on your side and the ball, and then the wind carries it back across the net, you're allowed to run around the net as long as you don't touch the net to hit the ball. Okay. But you have to get it before it bounces twice.
Oh, now wait. Oh, you're playing tennis with one hell of a headwind.
Yeah. So say somebody mishits a ball, it bounces near the net, and the wind carries it back to the side that the person hit it. You're allowed to legally reach over the net and hit the ball before it bounces twice, as long as you don't touch the net. Well, one time in the pros, I saw on TV once ever, somebody actually ran around the net and got the ball before it bounced twice and hit the ball for a winner. I've only ever seen it once. I've never seen it, but there's a rule for that. Okay.
Well, this game of tennis has been since the French Revolution, if not
something
before.
like that. Yeah. It's been around for a few hundred years. The rules have changed a little bit from time to time, but I'm just saying that, when it comes to motor vehicles, every state has different laws, and some of the stuff gets a little squirrely. And so the thing is, as FSD is learning, there's all these situations which almost never happen. They're improbable, but not impossible.
But happen.
Yeah. And so I doubt it's like a situation where they're blowing stop signs or anything like that. But there's obviously situations where they're committing violations of some sort.
And I don't know if this isn't technically, I guess, breaking the law, but maybe it is. I saw a thing where somebody was driving, and I don't know if it was a Tesla or not, that the thing stopped in the middle of a railroad track.
Oh God!
With an approaching train. And they had to jump out of the thing before. I didn't follow up on because I got a lot of other stories to cover, but okay, that would be problematic.
Yeah, it sure would. Yeah, you don't want to get hit by a train. That's bad juju right there. But Musk has announced that full self-driving going forward is going to be monthly subscription only.
Yeah. That's got a few people upset.
Yeah, but it used to. I thought it cost like $10,000 versus $100 a month. I mean,
but you had to buy. I mean, you had to buy the car that had that equipment in it, right?
No, all the cars have the equipment.
Well, yeah, but there were levels. I thought originally. I mean, the first cars came out with a certain, then subsequent cars came out with improved. But if you wanted to retrofit,
I don't know about the retrofit. All I knew was that you were getting a software update.
Oh, okay.
I always thought it was just them
To
turning on the technology.
be perfectly honest with you, I don't spend a lot of time worrying about self-driving because I have absolutely no need for it at this juncture. Now, talk to me in 5 or 10 years, I might need it because of my decrepitness, but right
Yeah.
now I don't need it. I'm not interested, so I don't really spend a lot of time looking at it.
Yeah. Well, we were talking, we talked recently about the Ford, $20 billion write down and the GM $6 to $7 billion write down.
Yep.
But on the flip side, there are, 30 new EVs launching in 2026.
Yeah.
And this seems kind of ridiculous. We got all these companies, dropping their models. But despite headlines about EV slowdown, 30 plus new EV models launching in the United States in 2026, including a new Nissan Leaf with a 303-mile range. The industry is betting long-term despite short-term headwinds and policy uncertainty. Now, I'm betting a lot of these cars are probably Kias and Hyundais, and Volkswagens, stuff like
wouldn't
that.
surprise me in the least. Yep.
Yeah. There's a new Acura
RS. And somebody apparently has figured out how to get a couple of the Chinese cars. Somebody had, I think in Florida, has got an Xpeng, has brought it in, one of the super Xpengs. And apparently BYD is looking to do something yet this year in the U.S.
Let's see what we got here. Here's an Acura RSX. Pretty nice. I mean, that one's one. What else we got? Let's see if I can get out of this window here. Let me see. We've got a new BMW iX3.
Yeah.
So the iX3 has always been that little vehicle. It's been kind of goofy looking. Now all of a sudden it looks more like a regular BMW. It's one of the arguments I've always made is like.
Oh, you were thinking of the i3?
Yeah, the i3. Now it's on the
right.
iX. Yeah, the iX3. But you mean the i3 is another one of those attempts like, let's make an electric vehicle, but let's make it look goofy.
Well, I liked it.
Yeah.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
And here we go, Bill. Here's a new 2027 Chevy Bolt.
Yep.
Does
and basically the same thing for less.
Yeah, for all you budget-minded people, there's the Ferrari Electrica. The first electric Ferrari arrives this year. They're not confirming that's really the name.
I can't wait for that.
It'll have a quad motor powertrain, 4 seats, and 1,000 horsepower with 300 miles of range. Let's see. Genesis GV60 Magma. It's a high performance model. It's chasing the core of the German luxury market. It'll have 609 horsepower and overboost function, offering 650 horsepower for a few seconds.
Somebody did that a couple of years ago, and to get that function, you had to, who was it, Renault or someone? And to get that kind of accelerated function, you had to be on a subscription program.
Okay. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. Genesis GV90. Now, of course, I said Hyundai and Kia. I didn't think about their other brand, Genesis, but
yeah.
Anyways, Hyundai 0 Series SUV, Hyundai Ioniq 6N. Now, I don't know what the
that
N
would be that's their sort of souped up model.
Okay, I see the spoiler on the back.
The souped up model, yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Jaguar Type 00. Surprised that's not a Waymo. Let's see. Jeep Grand Wagoneer EREV. So an extended range Jeep Wagoneer. Now, that would be big because the Wagoneer is basically the same size as a Suburban. I mean, they've really gotten big. The Wagoneer used to be a mid-size.
Yeah, I used to own one once upon a time.
Yeah, but the new ones are huge. 600. Okay, so it's a combination of a V6 engine and a 92 kilowatt hour battery pack, 600 miles of driving range with a full tank and a full charge.
Well,
That's a big vehicle.
that's nothing compared to what GM and Xpeng are doing now with theirs. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. I mean, that Wagoneer would be nice looking. But you look at, that's some storage space there.
That's serious. Put your kayak in there, man.
Yeah. My 12 suitcases, I need to go on a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that color leather.
Yeah, so do I. That's nice.
Let's see what else we got. Jeep Recon, also an EREV. Let's see, the Kia EV3. More, Land Rover, Range Rover EV. I heard they had a huge amount of pre-orders for this, like something like 100,000 pre-orders. So,
you see a lot of them down here in our neck of the woods in Omaha. You see a lot of Explorers, not Explorers,
Range Rovers,
Range Rover, whatever they call them,
the Lexus ES, Lucid Earth.
So you got gravity, you've got air, gravity, and now Earth, huh?
Next we'll wait.
That's got to be. Is that the one that they're talking about? That's going to be like in the 50K range, I think.
Yeah, 48,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mercedes AMG EV. Oh yeah, that's what we need right there. Top speed of 223 miles per hour.
There was an article that got posted here of all the electric vehicles that will do better than 200 miles an hour. And when you look through the list, I mean, there's a few customer, consumer grade vehicles, but then there's also the French and a Spanish and a bunch of Chinese, Japanese high-speed rail, which are technically electric vehicles.
Yes.
And then a couple of electric airplanes, one from Rolls-Royce.
Oh, so this Mercedes AMG GT can accept 850 kilowatt charging speeds.
Good. They'll need it.
Oh, nice. 250 miles of range in 5 minutes. Yeah, that's 50 miles of range a minute.
That's pretty good. That's down to Kansas City and back.
There you go.
Well, no, down to Kansas City, 5 minutes, and then back.
Yeah, there you go. You could probably get to Kansas City in 5 minutes in this thing. 1,341 horsepower. Man, they're really pushing. I mean, next we're going to be looking probably at a new Rimac or something.
Now that'll work, on the Autobahn. I don't know where you would drive that here unless you get out in the middle of Wyoming or Montana or somewhere.
Yeah, Bill, what would a rotary engine plane with 1,341 horsepower run?
That's a at that rate, that's a turboprop.
Yeah, I mean that would be really something. Mercedes-Benz CLA, 48,000 to start. That's getting more like it. 400 miles of range. That'd be a real competitor for Model 3s.
Oh yeah.
The Mercedes-Benz GLC, it gets the 800 volt platform. That's the super fast charging. 350 miles of range. Mercedes-Benz van. Oh, here we got something to compete with the Volkswagen van, right?
Which is not available apparently anymore in this here in North America, or will not be shortly.
Yeah. Let me see. VIP luxury vans are popular in Asia and Europe. They've never been popular in the US. Let's see. Not given a whole lot of information there. The Mitsubishi Lancer EV, Polestar 5, Porsche Cayenne. Now that'll be nice. That's a vehicle that probably, it's much like I've said before, the Ford Explorer should have an EV in the United States and they have it in Europe. Well, here they got a Cayenne from Porsche coming out. 11, the turbo model will have 1100 horsepower.
Now, I presume that's a plug-in hybrid, right?
No, they already have a plug-in hybrid. This is the full electric.
Is that full electric?
Yeah.
Wonder why they call it turbo, other than the fact that maybe it's got a little super, boosting electric available.
Yeah. We're back to the Ram REV,
which I thought had been shelved.
Yeah, let's see if anything's really changed. It doesn't really look like much change. The Rivian R2.
By the way, the R2, they've actually started rolling off pre-production models.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The Slate. We've talked lots about the Slate.
Right.
The Sony Honda Afeela 1.
Afeela, yeah.
Subaru Trail Seeker. Subaru Uncharted.
And these are all electric drive vehicles, folks.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. These are all 2026 new models. You know what we haven't seen going on the list? We haven't seen a single Ford or GM, right?
So far. Well, yes, you have. You've seen the Bolt.
That's right. We had the Bolt. Okay.
We had the Bolt, yep.
Yeah, we had the Bolt. But
they've got what, 3, and they're advertising them on TV now, on cable.
Now, we haven't seen a Cadillac roll off here yet, but I suspect there's going to be a Cadillac in this before we get.
Well, there's already 3 Cadillacs that are electric.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what we get here. Here's another Toyota CHR, Volvo EX60. Oh, we got through the list. I guess there was no new Cadillac on there, but I'm just stating
that.
Well,
they've already got the 3. They got the Lyric, the Visic, and let's see, what's the third one? But they've got 3 models right now.
Yeah,
that are all electric.
For the fact that Ford and GM are writing off these vehicles, you have all these other automakers bringing 30 new models. It really makes you kind of scratch your head. It's like,
well, I guess the argument can be made: who's the bigger fool here?
Right.
Is it all these guys bringing these cars in hopes of, bumping up their share of the American EV market, or are GM and Ford being prudent because it's going to take longer for people to adapt than what we had originally assumed?
Right.
But then, that being said, we've got this article about Republicans starting to come on board.
Yep. All right. Let's move on to managed EV charging can save the grid billions of dollars based on a Washington study. Key insights. Active managed charging can reduce on-peak EV charging by anywhere from 59 to 93%. That's a pretty big change. Now, of course, a lot of that is just saying, hey, we're not going to charge cars between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m., right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Well, that and the ability to do vehicle to grid. So you can actually occasionally tap into whatever, power that the owner has decided they'll share with the grid.
Yeah, during that peak time in the evening.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Can save drivers up to $400 a year and delay costly grid upgrades for a decade. Time of use rates and vehicle to grid could transform EVs from a grid burden to a grid asset. I mean, that's such a big deal. And we talk about this all the time because people are always saying, oh, the grid can't handle EVs. And it's like, well, not at peak time. If you're charging every EV at peak time, at the same time, you're going to have problems.
Right.
And so, but the whole idea of this is through managed services, they're not going to be charging at peak times.
Right.
And if anything, they may be supporting the energy needs by providing the juice in their batteries during peak times and then charging, during off periods. So just that kind of load balancing is a tremendous benefit.
Or not just at night, but if you're in an area, a grid that has a lot of solar, best time to do that's about 11 to 1, because that's when the sun is most effectively powering, certain types of solar arrays.
Yeah, I saw some. Well, I was down in Texas the last few days. I saw some really big solar arrays as I was driving around. I mean, they sure got it all over that state.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, if they're we think of them in terms of oil and natural gas and all that,
Mhm.
but they have a significant portion of their energy now is coming from renewables.
Yeah, yeah, they got a lot of wind and solar. It's used heavily to supplant. They got no shortage of fuel to use when solar and wind aren't working, but it's just they're using less and less of it.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of the thing. Solar and wind don't really truly replace anything. They just diminish your need for other energy sources, and at a cheap price.
Yeah.
So
the fuel costs you nothing.
Yeah, they're economically, the economics make sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if it isn't base load power. All right, we talked the other day about Meta purchasing 6.6 gigawatts. Meta also, interestingly, purchased Manus AI. So Manus is another super agent. It's very similar to the one I really like. But Manus, they bought it for $2 billion. Yeah, and a super agent, for those of you who don't know, it'll look just like a chat GPT. You enter information into it the same way, just with a prompt,
Right.
but it will choose what is the best AI program to use for your task.
For that purpose,
and so what it'll do, and it's much like GenSpark that I use. I have a set amount of credits. It goes to various AIs and spends my credits, and then but I get to use the pro versions of several different models. And I like spending money on AI subscriptions. So I have Gemini, Perplexity, and GenSpark. So I've got them all, but GenSpark definitely is the one, in my mind, the one to rule them all. But Manus and GenSpark are very similar.
Oh.
And Meta bought that one. I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody scoop up GenSpark in a similar fashion at some point. All right, we talked about Rivian stock being up 31% in the past 3 months, but now today it's at 16.75. Weren't we at $22 a few days ago, Bill?
Yes, and that's when I sold.
Nice, good for you, Bill. Good for you. I'm proud of you.
Only I have made money on 2 stocks in my life. Mm-hmm. One of them was a fuel cell company just after it went public, and the other was Rivian.
Did you make money on Nikola? Did you make money on Nikola?
No, I have never done much. I did not invest in Nikola.
Okay, just making sure you didn't leave everybody else holding the bag there, Bill.
Nope.
Okay, just make sure you weren't our pump and dumper here.
No.
In the green hydrogen space. Let's see, but Rivian hitting highs, Lucid hitting lows, but we've talked about those things. The U.S. has hit a major milestone in DC charging. We now have 10,000 charging stalls at 350 kilowatts or more now operating.
Pretty dang good. Yeah, it's not 800, but it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, well, that's just 350 kilowatt plus. There's still lots of the 175, 180s.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of those. NACS connectors are now 48% of all fast chargers. CCS1 is now only 40%. Even though CCS1
now let's just in case some people aren't familiar with what we're talking about, the NACS is the standard that Tesla developed,
the North American charging standard,
right? And the CSS is the common, I forget exactly the acronym stands for, but basically it's what we started with until it's kind of like Sony versus Beta, right? Yeah. Sony came out first, but it got supplanted by Beta. So kind of like that. So now we're starting to see this transition taking place between these two, two plug types.
Now this is just in the U.S. This is just in the U.S.
So just in the U.S. Oh yeah,
there's other plug types overseas. Okay,
right.
So NACS is 48%, CCS1 is 40%. That only totals 88. Okay, I can't imagine that CHAdeMO is the other 12. There must be some others in there somewhere that I don't know about.
Or what? Well, okay, that's charging standard, so it's not level 1, level 2 difference.
These are all DC. These are all DC chargers, level 3 chargers or superchargers, as people, those names can all be sort of interchangeable. But technically, a DC charger means it's a level 3, which is your fast chargers. The ones you have at home are a faster charger, but they're level 2. They're about 1/10 the speed of a fast charger.
You're going from a garden hose to a fire hose is basically what you're talking about.
Yeah, and a level 1 charger just pissing into the car.
That's a drip irrigation.
Would be a nasty, but but anyways, that's pretty impressive. CCS1 connectors, now not charging stalls, but connectors, grew by 9,900 units, 46% in the past year, but NACS gained more ground. So the fact is, Tesla is letting everybody else now charge on their network. And I think ultimately they will be the one ring to rule them all. So
probably, although it'll take, it's expensive charging, putting chargers in. Right now, what we're talking about doing is people are just buying adapters.
Right.
To go from one to the other. So.
Right. No, I get that. Let me see. New York's Governor Hochul announces 4 gigawatt nuclear push. Let's see.
This is in New York State.
Yes, New York State. Hochul is proposing 4 gigawatts of new nuclear energy for the New York grid, part of a broader plan to curb energy bills while cleaning up the grid. Yeah, let's not rely on that damn hydroelectric from Canada. Yeah. You
never know what those doggone Canadians might do, eh?
Yeah. Well, it's like I said before, when the Canadians were threatening to raise the price of electricity by 25% to the U.S., people were talking about it was going to raise their electric bills by $100 a month, when I was just saying, hey, these people are just bad at math, because they were taking, if you had a $400 monthly electric bill, it was going to raise it by $100 and make it $500. But the truth is, if you're a retail customer, you're paying 25 cents a kilowatt hour, but the Canadians were going to raise the price from 4 cents to 5 cents. So your 25 cents was going to probably go to 26 cents. Right. And so you were going to go from 400 to 416. Okay. So it wasn't exactly the math. It's taken me a long time, Bill, to learn energy math. I may not be that smart, but having you and Mike around has helped me become a little smarter. I'm not as dumb as I was before. I'm sure
that's Mike's credits, Mike. You're not getting any math help from me.
Right. Yeah. I'm able to do energy math much more effectively. But as somebody who has been in the energy space now for a couple of years, people always assume, when somebody's talking about, well, we can produce energy here for a nickel, but some reason my energy bill says 20 cents. Now here in Nebraska, we only pay around 12 cents.
12 cents.
Okay. And so it's a little more competitive, but in a lot of our cases, our energy is made closer to where we use it. For instance, we got a nice coal-fired power plant right here in Omaha, right in the middle of town.
And an even bigger one across the river. Now, I don't know whether our grid connects to that or not, because it's actually a part of a different grid pool. But so we've got that, and of course then we have a nuclear power plant, which I guess is still online down at Cooper.
Right, that one's still going. Yeah, but we conveniently have these big coal-fired power plants right in town, polluting all the air. But we have So the power is being generated close to where it's used. Okay. If we move the coal-fired power plants a couple of 100 miles out into the country where it wasn't, part of our air, then our energy costs probably go up a nickel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because of transmission costs. And that's what you deal with up there. I mean, you're transporting energy from Canada to power a whole bunch of states in the Northeast. And so they're buying cheap energy that's hydroelectric from Quebec, where they have plentiful hydropower.
But you got to go over lots of wilderness, and mountains and lakes and things like that. So yeah, it's all those cables and towers between the hydro plant up in Quebec and New York City, or various of the communities there in Hartford and so on.
Yeah. Since most of your energy companies are monopolies, they're generally required not to exceed 10% net profit. So that generally means if you're paying 25 cents, that only 2.5 cents of that is profit to the owners of the utility.
And the rest of it's maintenance and all the other.
Now, the CEO of that power company, so what is it? So the Berkshire Hathaway Energy CEO is now the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know what his salary was as that, but he's replacing Warren Buffett, and his salary is going from Warren's $100,000 a year to $25 million. So they bumped up the salary for the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway from $100,000 to $25 million.
He was only making $100,000.
No. Warren was only making $100,000. Warren Buffett's salary was only $100,000.
Well, that I can understand.
That was really just his McDonald's allowance.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I actually have a Blizzard going.
Oh, is it here. Really?
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
That's amazing. It's doing nothing here, and we're 5 miles apart?
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing. I have a hard time making my camera adjust.
Yeah. All we're seeing is glare at the moment.
That's because all it is white snow out there.
Huh. Hey, see, folks, we're only about 3, 4, 5 miles apart from each other. He's to the east, and I'm west of him.
Here in the Arctic Circle. No.
We're in the Arctic Circle, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to feel that way tonight. Wow, or tomorrow.
Oh, is it going to be bad?
50 mile an hour winds and 14 degrees maximum temperature Saturday.
I might have to wear sweatpants when I go out.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we'll move on. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Hopefully people enjoy when I explain energy math, because it is, it is something that's quite enlightening. I mean, getting to understand the difference, or how people will express 1,000 megawatts versus just saying a gigawatt, and it's just funny. The one that I find really fascinating is when we eat calories, technically it's a kilocalorie, right?
Right.
Yeah. So each, we're really eating 1,000 times as many calories as we think. If you're eating 2,000 calories a day, you're actually eating 2,000 kilocalories a day.
Right.
Yeah. So it's more like 2 million of something. Yeah. It just, so if you started expressing it like that, people would eat less, wouldn't you? You'd think, maybe. All right. Maybe not. Maybe there's too many people bad at math, so they'd still be fat. So it wouldn't help them out. Anyways. All right. Republicans warming up to EVs. The partisan divide is shrinking. New study shows partisan EV divide is slowly closing over the past 3 years. Lower prices, better charging, and U.S. manufacturing are driving Republican acceptance. And one of the things, especially like we were showing all those new cars from Hyundai, they're all probably being made here in the United States, or a very large part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's really funny what, most cars sold in the U.S. are actually made here. It's just they're not made by, they're not always made by Ford and GM. And it's always
Chrysler,
or Chrysler.
Yeah.
And people don't always realize that the most valuable car company in America is Tesla, and Tesla's an American brand. It's confusing to people.
Well, and that that part of that confusion can also be the fact that you've got their biggest market for Tesla is China. So they've set up a plant in Shanghai. And then they wanted to do something in Europe, which makes sense. So they built a gigafactory in outside of Berlin. So they're an international car player, but the cars that we get here in the U.S., as far as I know, all of those basically are manufactured at their facilities here in the U.S.
Now, there's an American-made car for you right there, a Tesla Cybertruck.
Hey, I had fun with that. That's an AI generated graphic.
No, I know, but still, that's a good-looking wrap idea, though.
Well, somebody has that, and as I was kind of scrolling for ideas, I said, "Oh crap! Somebody's put a flag on the Cybertruck. That's a cool idea." I said, "But I told AI create a Cybertruck with a flag wrap on it, and then put the Republican logo behind it on a wall." And there's a result.
So back in the 90s, I owned a company called Federal Security Corporation. It was a private security contractor that was based in Tennessee. And I sold that in the 90s as well. But one of the draws to our company was Millington, Tennessee Police Department. It was called the Flag City. And they got a wrap. And it was one of the first times I'd ever seen wraps. So the whole car wrap concept was kind of new back then. But they'd had American flag graphics. And I saw that, and we adapted the flag graphics as well. We weren't in Millington, but they were like 10 miles outside of our territory. Okay. But we adopted that. And I used to get so many compliments from people because they'd see our vehicles riding around. And it was such a good looking wrap, but it was very similar to this. Except we didn't have the deep blue, but we had, it was definitely American flag graphics, and it got a lot of attention. It was really a good look for private security vehicles. But anyways, yeah, but while many still cling to V8s, resistance has eased over the past 3 years. The shift suggests EVs are becoming less of a culture war symbol, more of a practical choice. Good news for an industry needing broader support. Now, while I was in Texas for the last few days, everywhere I went, I was either being picked up and ran around in a Suburban or a Tahoe or the GM equivalent. Yeah. So I was being around, but a lot of times there were more than just two of us in the vehicle. So a lot of times there was anywhere from 4 to 6 of us in the vehicle.
Well, which makes sense. Yeah, if you got a lot of party,
Yeah, but constantly running around with people, and it was just interesting because everywhere we went, there was lots. It was dominated by Tahoes and Suburbans, just kind of everywhere. But it's Texas. Everything's big, right? Everything's bigger in Texas.
Well. Alaska dwarfs it, but I won't.
Yeah, I get that. Oh man, it's really coming down. My poor dogs are going to be looking at me wanting to go for a walk. I'm not feeling like walking in this.
Yeah, it's happening here right now too. So it finally showed up over here.
It looks like you turn the snow globe. You shake the snow globe and turn it upside down.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like right now going on. Anyways,
friendly weather report from Omaha, Nebraska, folks.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Now, we talked a little bit the other day about Verge's Pro motorcycle using solid state batteries, expecting the costs to reach parity with lithium ion by the early 2030s. Now, the funny thing about that is as the solid state lithium batteries hope to reach parity with lithium ion, we'll probably see other technologies replacing the lithium ion batteries, but who knows? It's really hard to say what's going to go on in that space.
Well, there's storage already. Apparently, there's one of the another Chinese company has introduced yet another one of their models, electric models, that is going to be using the solid state battery.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing that's at least 2 now that are rolling out full size cars, not just like this Finnish company Verge that's using a battery that for their motorcycle.
Well, and usually the Chinese car companies are on the cutting edge, right? And so we're probably
this is gonna blow you away or irritate you or whatever. But General Motors, Buick division, the Buick China or SIAC partnership, they actually now have built and are making available a plug-in hybrid with 1,000, in fact, I think it was 1,012 miles of range on a full charge and full tank of gasoline because they've got a little,
Mm-hmm.
generator in it. So you got GM offering in China plug-in hybrid with 1,000 miles range, and in addition to that, the company Xpeng is also now offering a similar vehicle. So
That's
I don't see, you can't have any worries about range anxiety because you can drive further. How long does it take to drive 1,000 miles? 15 hours.
A long time. But the idea is that you could drive somewhere 7-8 hours and drive all the way back.
Yeah.
Without having to worry about.
The case in point they gave was, what's that translate into? You could drive literally from New York to Chicago and back, and never have to stop and refuel.
Right. But it's kind of frustrating because I can't even think of a current GM plug-in hybrid. They may exist.
Well, they did. It was the Volt.
They did. The Volt was
right. The Volt.
But currently,
and that Cadillac. Remember the Cadillac?
Yeah. But that ended in like 20.
That was 2015, I think.
2014 to 16 or something like that. Yeah, and I'm not saying they haven't done it. It's just that a lot of times some of these things have been premature, and now all of a sudden, people say there's a big market for plug-in hybrids. But there aren't really a lot of plug-in hybrid options, right?
And, not a lot at this point. Not few, but
when I go to the gym in the morning, I notice a lot of plug-in hybrids. Not so many just pure EVs, but there's oddly a lot of plug-in hybrids at the gym I go to in the mornings. And I notice them driving around silently. In the the usual electric vehicle noise you hear when they back up, it sounds like the spaceship or whatever sound, and it's like, well, that's not it, but it's like, that looks like a gas car, and then I realize that they're plug-ins.
For the average person, I'd say that probably makes a whole lot of sense. If you're uncomfortable with the notion of going all electric, or you don't have access to immediate access to charging in a garage or something like that, you get to drive, typically they're between 30 and 50 miles of EV range. That's what most people drive in a day.
Yeah, there's so many vehicles I look at. It's like, why don't they offer a plug-in hybrid in that or something? It makes no sense. But
we're getting there.
Yeah, I get it. And you and I both know you're probably just as well just making the switch just to electric. But a lot of people, they really need that baby step. And
definitely. Well, again, look how long I went publishing EV World from 1998. I did not buy my first fully electric vehicle until 2019. All the other times I was running on a hybrid, either a Honda hybrid or a Toyota hybrid.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because that was what was really available and serviceable here in this market.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, let me see. Do I have anything else? Oh, we didn't talk about the German study, did we?
No, we should talk about that before we break off.
Yeah, so a new German study finds combustion engines use 6 times more energy than EVs. The claim about highly efficient combustion engines are misleading. Thermal engines are bound by physics to waste most of their energy as heat, while electric motors convert power far more effectively. His analysis shows that gasoline cars can use up to 6 times more energy than EVs to travel the same distance, challenging political efforts to delay Europe's 2035 phase out of combustion vehicles. We talked about the 6x cost difference plenty of times, right? Well, actually, it's really only 3x cost difference if you're charging at home versus filling up gas at a gas station.
Yeah, if you have to go off and use a public charger, it will cost you more than doing it at home, right? It just does.
Yes. New gasoline engines reach around 40% efficiency, diesels around 45%, but only when they run at perfect operating point, the drivers almost never hit in real traffic. Out on the road, the typical diesel car only hits about turns about 25% of the fuel energy into motion. Let me see. An electric motor in a car can convert more than 90% into mechanical power. Let's see.
And that's why you can have cars that are what we were talking about earlier, 1,300 horsepower.
Yeah.
Think about that. 1,300 horsepower at your instant beg and call.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Well, that's all I've got for today.
That'll work.
Yeah. Bill and I will be back on Tuesday.
And I should. I will probably not be able to do the following Friday.
Okay.
So I've got a event here that I'm helping out on, so I'm going to be doing that on Friday. So.
All right. Well, I'll get something worked out for that.
All righty.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in.